On a cold February morning in 2022, the world watched in disbelief as history took a turn that few had truly anticipated. Russian tanks rumbled across the border into Ukraine, shattering the uneasy peace that had lingered for years. The Kremlin called it a special military operation, insisting it was a necessary step. But to the West, it was nothing less than a full-scale invasion, and the response was immediate and severe, with unprecedented sanctions rolling out across the globe. Major Russian banks were abruptly cut off from the global financial system, foreign reserves were frozen overnight, and the message from the international community was unmistakable. Russia would be isolated. Its economy like tsunami squeezed tighter than ever before. Ordinary Russians faced panic and confusion, ATM lines stretched for blocks, the ruble plummeted to historic lows, and Western companies fled overnight. Store shelves emptied almost instantly as people rushed to buy essentials, fearing what might come next. The future, once predictable, suddenly became clouded with uncertainty and fear. State media spun the crisis as a chance for national rebirth, urging unity and resilience in the face of adversity. But beneath the surface, anxiety simmered. Conversations in homes and cafes were filled with worry as people tried to make sense of the new reality. The West expected a swift Russian collapse, believing the economy would buckle under the immense pressure of sanctions and isolation. But the collapse never came. Life in many ways continued. Markets reopened, people adapted, and a sense of uneasy normalcy returned. Instead, the system bent, adapted, and then hardened as officials scrambled to stabilize the situation. The Kremlin, drawing on decades of crisis management experience, fought back with every tool at its disposal, tightening controls, finding new trade partners, and rallying the nation. This wasn't just about currency or budgets, it was about regime survival, about holding on to power in the face of overwhelming odds. What followed was not a simple story of victory or defeat, but a complex struggle that would reshape Russian society. It became a tale of brute force, adaptation, and a fragile stability that still haunts Russia today, as people continue to navigate a changed world. Behind the official numbers and headlines, a deeper, more complex reality was taking shape, one of sacrifice, resilience, and quiet struggle. The world saw resilience, but inside Russia, the cost was mounting, felt in every home, every workplace, and every uncertain glance. The economic war had only just begun, and its effects would ripple for years to come. Its true consequences were only starting to emerge, leaving a nation forever changed and a world still grappling with the shock of the unthinkable. The ruble's collapse threatened disaster, hyperinflation, lost savings, and unrest. Overnight, ordinary Russians watched their purchasing power evaporate as prices for everyday goods soared and uncertainty gripped the nation. The central bank, led by Elvira Nabiullina, responded with drastic measures. Interest rates soared to 20%, and strict capital controls locked money inside Russia. These emergency steps were designed to halt the panic and prevent a total financial meltdown, even as they shocked the public. Exporters were forced to convert most foreign earnings into rubles, creating artificial demand. This move propped up the currency, but also made it harder for businesses to operate internationally. The ruble became a managed currency, its value dictated by the Kremlin, not the market. Behind closed doors, officials debated how tightly to control the flow of money and information. For citizens, foreign currency was suddenly out of reach. Buying dollars or euros became nearly impossible. Families who once saved in foreign cash now faced closed doors and empty hands. The government built a financial fortress, prioritizing survival over prosperity. Security became the watchword as authorities tightened their grip on every aspect of economic life. Subsidies and preferential loans kept key sectors afloat and bought social peace. State support flowed to industries deemed essential, from agriculture to defense, ensuring jobs and stability. On paper, the ruble rebounded, stronger than before the invasion. Headlines touted the recovery, and officials claimed victory over economic chaos. But this was a mirage. The economy was under lockdown, not thriving. Behind the numbers, businesses struggled, and consumer choice shrank dramatically. The strong ruble reflected isolation, not strength. It was a symbol of a country cut off from global markets, forced to look inward. Russia's economy was being rewired for a long, grinding conflict. Factories shifted to war production, and innovation focused on survival, not growth. The fortress kept money in but also kept the world out. Sanctions and border closures meant fewer imports and shelves emptied of foreign brands. The currency was saved, but at a steep cost. Ordinary people bore the brunt: rising prices, shrinking opportunities, and a sense of isolation from the world. The real battle for Russia's future had just begun. As the fortress walls rose higher, the struggle to define what comes next grew ever more urgent. As the central bank stabilized the ruble, the war effort transformed the economy. The Kremlin poured money into the military-industrial complex, retooling factories for weapons production. Defense spending soared, now nearly a third of the budget. This war Keynesianism created jobs and boosted industrial output, masking the predicted economic collapse. Oil and gas revenues, especially from China and India, kept the money flowing despite Western sanctions. Russia's shadow fleet bypassed restrictions, ensuring petrodollars reached the Kremlin. The economy ran on two engines: war spending and energy exports. Official numbers showed growth, but it was fueled by conflict, not innovation. Unemployment fell, wages and defense rose, and the illusion of resilience took hold. But beneath the surface, the economy was becoming addicted to war. Its apparent strength masked a deepening sickness. Official statistics painted a picture of stability, but daily life told another story. Inflation hit hard. Food, medicine, and imported goods soared in price. Western brands vanished, replaced by costlier, lower-quality substitutes. Real wages lagged behind rising costs, eroding purchasing power. Low unemployment masked a labor crisis. Hundreds of thousands mobilized or fled, leaving civilian sectors understaffed. Jobs shifted to the war effort, while civilian businesses struggled. Quality of life declined. Air travel became riskier, medicine scarcer, and optimism faded. The state projected strength, but most Russians felt anxiety and resignation. The stability was artificial, bought with oil money and war spending. Ordinary people bore the brunt, while the state and its contractors reaped the benefits. Russia's fate has always been tied to oil. The Soviet Union squandered its oil wealth. The 1990s saw it seized by oligarchs, leaving most Russians in poverty. Putin's rise coincided with soaring oil prices, fueling a new social contract: prosperity in exchange for political obedience. The 2000s brought unprecedented growth, but also deepened dependence on energy exports. Instead of diversifying, the Kremlin doubled down on oil, making the economy vulnerable to price swings. High prices meant lavish spending. Low prices brought recession. This resource curse stifled innovation and entrepreneurship. Today, Russia repeats the pattern, utterly reliant on oil to fund a war-driven budget. The failure to diversify has left few alternatives. Oil money once bought stability, now it funds destruction. The future is mortgaged for short-term survival. Western sanctions aim to cripple Russia's access to technology and global markets. The initial shock was real. Industries stalled, imports vanished, but Russia adapted, building new supply chains through China and other neutral countries. China became Russia's economic lifeline, supplying goods and buying oil. Chinese products replaced Western brands, and dual-use goods kept the war machine running. Other countries like Turkey and Central Asian states became hubs for re-exporting sanctioned goods. Parallel imports, though costly, kept technology and consumer goods flowing. Sanctions didn't collapse the economy, they shifted its center of gravity eastward. Russia became more dependent on China, trading economic sovereignty for survival. The West's economic weapon wounded, but didn't break Russia. Instead, it pushed the country into a new geopolitical alignment. War has gutted Russia's workforce. Hundreds of thousands of men were mobilized or recruited, leaving civilian jobs vacant. A massive brain drain followed. Young, educated Russians fled to escape repression and war. Hospitals, schools, and businesses now struggle to find staff. Public services are strained, and civilian sectors are starved of talent. The economy's creative side withers as resources flow to the military. This demographic wound will last for decades. Even if the war ends, the lost generation won't return. Russia's population was aging before, now decline is accelerating. The war economy can build weapons, but not a future. In wartime Russia, statistics serve propaganda, not truth. The government withholds or manipulates economic data, projecting an image of strength. GDP growth is inflated by military production. Shells count as much as washing machines. Official inflation rates understate the real pain felt by families. Independent analysts rely on indirect clues to gauge the true state of the economy. The gap between official numbers and daily reality widens. The real story is found in rising prices, shortages, and the exodus of talent. Numbers are crafted to reassure, But the foundation is brittle. The truth is hidden behind a wall of curated statistics. Russia's current economic model is unsustainable, built on shaky foundations that cannot hold forever. Oil revenues and war spending keep the system afloat, but at a mounting cost that grows heavier with each passing year. Civilian industries are starved of resources, innovation stalls, and the technological gap with the rest of the world only widens, leaving Russia further behind. When the war ends, demobilizing the economy will bring mass unemployment and a deeper, more painful crisis for ordinary people. The old social contract, stability in exchange for obedience, is unraveling as frustration and uncertainty grow. Propaganda and repression maintain a fragile peace, but trust in the system and financial reserves are running out, leaving the population anxious and wary. The illusion of normalcy can't last forever. Beneath the surface, anxiety and hardship simmer. Russia's resilience is real, forged by decades of hardship. But so is the price its people are forced to pay. The country is burning through its wealth, its people, and its future, all for the sake of short-term survival and fleeting stability. The real collapse may not be sudden or dramatic, but a slow, grinding decline that touches every aspect of daily life. The world sees a fortress, but inside, the foundations are crumbling, and the cracks are spreading. The true cost of this war will haunt Russia for generations, shaping its destiny long after the fighting ends.